Why should someone aspire to be an influencer?
It is someone that has impact, right? That if they say something, it causes you to make a decision. And then understanding, okay, if I'm the influencer, what is it that my people, my audience, that I actually care about, I can deliver to them? What brands can help me get that message to them or give them really great product offerings that solve a problem for them? And I think that's why I've been able to succeed with partnerships like Nike, Lululemon, Under Armour, Bumble, Mercedes-Benz, because I give them legitimate paperwork because I'm a real business.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 123 of the Andrew Deitsch podcast. If this is your first time joining me, I want to thank you for checking it out. This show is about having meaningful in-person conversations with some of the most amazing people that I know. But before I jump into the show, just wanted to mention that this episode of the podcast has been brought to you by Eyes Ahead Media. Eyes Ahead is a group of creative professionals who understand the value of exposure. And in today's social media landscape, eyeballs are the new currency. The more attention you have, the bigger impact you can make. And over the last 8 months, Eyes Ahead has been perfecting their custom gifts. And they've helped over 30 brands get their gifts trending on all the major platforms. And they've created more than 500 gifts that have been used by some of the biggest celebrities and influencers around the world. And they've been viewed over 750 million times. With their proven system, they consistently get their clients millions of views within the first few weeks. The numbers don't lie. So if you're interested in having your face or your brand seen by millions of people around the world, visit eyesaheadmedia.com/gif for more details. All right, so my guest today is ADP veteran Umama Kibria. She's a fitness and lifestyle influencer, gym hopper, social media growth hacker, tech evangelist, event guru, and master connector. And recently, she announced the launch of her new app, SweatPack, which is designed to help people find small groups to work out with on a regular basis. And Umama and I actually recorded episode 87 over a year ago. A lot of people have reported that it was their favorite episode of all time. So of course, I had to have her back on the show. And on this episode, we covered why her new app is changing the world, how she cleared up her skin issues with her diet. We talked about influencer marketing and so much more. So I'm gonna shut up now. So please, without any further ado, welcome my small and strong friend, Umama. Umama Kibria, what's up?
Yo, what's up? Wait, can we do like high five?
We can do high five, yes.
Hey, what's up? Dude, I miss you.
I miss you too. Well, we got to hang out a little bit at the lake the other day.
Oh man, it was so
That was
nice.
awesome.
I feel like it's so hard to get those days where you just like get away after, especially the entrepreneur hustle, right? Like
It's
we're
true.
both in the grind right now.
Yeah, it was nice to just, like I literally just had my phone off, left it at the dock.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh man, and I'm looking forward. I'm actually heading to Cuba tomorrow, so definitely looking forward to no Wi-Fi.
When are you coming back?
Monday.
Oh, perfect, because that's when this podcast is coming out.
Hey, perfect. I can celebrate.
Nice. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Well, I'm so excited.
Sweet.
Thanks for having me on here.
Of course.
Always so
Well, we
fun.
have very big news with your new launch and everything. But the last time we talked was like episode 87. It was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And you were like kind of doing a whole lot of other stuff.
Yep.
And you've kind of pivoted a lot. So kind of, if you can, just like give us the rundown of what you've been up to in the last like year.
Yeah.
And what's changed and everything. Because a lot of people have told me that your episode is their favorite episode of all time.
that's so
like a
sweet.
lot of people. Like my dad.
Really?
Like a bunch
yeah,
of
the
people.
text?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so nice.
So what have you been up to?
Yeah, well, just to catch up some new listeners, just in case,
Yes.
I'm Umama. I'm also known as smallandstrong.fit on Instagram, and really my passion has just always been for connecting people. I've kind of done that as I've like grown up, being like slumber party queen, like organizing prom, everything from my sorority. And so after college, I found myself kind of bored, Netflix and binge watching Netflix and just working. So I started this fitness journey as a way of trying to find myself, but honestly just trying to meet new people again. Because as you know, post-college it's hard. Mm-hmm. But I've always known I've had this entrepreneur blood in me, but I was working at an advertising agency and some startups, and my background's all in marketing and advertising. I'm really good at it. But what I suck at is if I don't like what I'm doing, you completely lose my attention. So
Totally.
I found my passion for fitness and then decided to combine the two. Now, here's the secret thing I haven't like really told many people about. So what I've just launched is actually called SweatPack. It's an app that connects people to group workouts and sports leagues. The funny thing is, I actually came up with this concept 4 years ago. I wrote it down in a pitch book and I took it to my ex-boyfriend because we always said we would share our ideas with each other and support each other. I took it to him. He's in risk management. He goes, yeah, this isn't going to work. And like gave me all these lists of reasons. I was like, okay, watch me. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years. I realized, okay, maybe he's right. I'm not ready yet, but I'm definitely going to execute on this. So for the past 4 years, all I've done is met new people. I connected with over 100,000 people on social media. I started a marketing agency to understand the needs of gyms, studios, and trainers and what they actually needed from a business perspective. But mainly, I was trying to solve a consumer problem, which is people are lonely. People want to make friends. People want to stay active and accountable. How do I solve a problem for all of these markets? And that's how SweatPack came to be.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it's cool because now that I look, you've talked about it on your story about how all the things you've been doing over the years are all contributing to SweatPack. Yeah. And it all makes like total sense now, like a freaking master plan, because you can actually see all the little things that you've done along the way that contributed to it. One of the most interesting things that I watched your story about, like kind of the launch of SweatPack and stuff, one of the most interesting things that I heard from you was the fact that these gyms, they are not necessarily needing help with like social media stuff, but because all that's attracting is like these one-off people all the time, and what they need is volume. Like they need like a group of committed people, and that makes like total sense, because when you're joining a gym, hopefully you're gonna go meet that group of people anyways, right? Like that's kind of the like secret sauce of keeping people around, because if the gym is awesome but everyone there sucks, like you're not going to want to stay. Like it doesn't really matter how nice it is or what the amenities are or anything.
It's not
motivating. I thought, yeah, and it was really interesting because that was kind of, it seemed like that was really your whole thing with SaaS Brands, right? Like you were going into gyms and trainers and all that and like helping them all with social media, but it seemed like they didn't really necessarily need help in that area, and they were focusing on the wrong thing.
Exactly. It's like,
how did you make that realization?
Yeah, so what I learned was, they were so focused on getting traction, getting content out there. But what mattered more and what I saw results came from was our event series, where we actually got people in studio sharing an experience with people. And what I've learned from people is when you share an experience with a person and you're building a skill together, you have a connection with it. So you feel like, oh wow, like I felt myself being stronger here. Now I want to be a member of this community. So I always feel this way. So then I started to like hate making content for gyms, because I was like, they're not gonna see anything from like a picture of someone working out. Like, is that really motivating when it's so saturated in this market? When really the best value these gyms have is their actual training. But gyms can't even focus on that right now because the market is so focused and saturated with all these other studios that they can't get their name out there. So they focus on the marketing versus the people. And so my goal with SweatPack is to bring it back to the people, bring it back to the training, because marketing, social media should just be an avenue that gets people there, but let's focus on real human connection.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, and you're like a master of that. So it makes sense why everyone wants to reach out to you and everything, like all these brands. But like you said, it's like they're reaching out for the wrong thing because they don't even realize what they actually need.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of take it back to fitness and stuff like that, because obviously you have an awesome fitness journey, kind of just inspired by your own, like you said, you were just unhappy like with where you were at, Netflix, blah, 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 and you kind of started on this journey. But in terms of like fitness trends and stuff right now, what are you seeing? Because obviously there's a lot of like fad stuff going around. There's a lot of, the hot new blah, blah, blah. And another thing that I, heard you say was that you feel like trainers and gyms and everything are being undervalued. Where do you see that, like, and how do you feel like that shift could be made back towards being a positive thing versus like a negative thing?
Absolutely. I think it's the millennial mindset right now, where we're in a generation of swiping and scrolling, right? We like having limitless options. So it's feeding those limitless options. Current fitness apps out there like ClassPass have shown us that, hey, people like diversity. They don't want to stay committed to one thing, but they can commit if they share an experience. So what I think is valuable is people are willing to commit, but we need to find them alternatives to just having one workout style. I think everyone's been so stuck in, oh, I just need to do curls and squats and I'll be good. But it's like, dude, you can go do aerial yoga, you can surfboard squat, like there's so much for everyone, but it's about helping people actually find those places. But people don't realize you can't get results unless you're consistent. You actually enjoy it and you find people. That's why my 3 biggest values for SweatPack is connection, community, and commitment, right? Those 3 things, if you implement that into work life, your relationship, it's success, right? But I think SweatPack solves for this once again because it gives people options. They're not locked down to one gym. They can be as part of as many SweatPacks as they want to. It's not just gyms. Now you can play sports too. So it's ways of finding what you love, but actually showing like, hey, I have this strong body that I'm putting to good use. So I really just, the market right now trend is how do we use technology to bring us closer into real life?
Yeah. One thing that I saw in your story that I thought was kind of interesting was you were talking about how you weren't squatting as much too. You're like, you're like, I'm not going over 135.
No.
And I thought that was kind of interesting because I think a lot of people have this mindset towards like working out where they're just like, I just want to get as strong as possible, but they never think about like where is that point that they're trying to get to, and then what's the next thing? Like they just focus on like, I just want to lift as much weight as humanly possible, or I want to look as good as humanly possible, and it's kind of a negative thing because like some people with the most negative self-image are like bodybuilders because they're always hyper analyzing all the little things about their body that they don't like, but it's not in a way where they're just like, not eating or, whatever, but they're like working out excessively or they're, under their calories or whatever. But as far as like your mentality towards it, I thought it was really healthy when you said like, I don't really need to lift more than this much because like, I'm not, you're not like a farmer or something. Like you don't need to like functionally do anything more than that. So what do you feel like your take on this kind of stuff is? Because like you said, you have, we want to take advantage of our strong bodies.
Yeah, I'm going to use you as an example. Okay, we'll go through your journey for this. Okay, because I know you've got a fitness background too.
Yeah.
Did you see Andrew shredded last summer? You look good. Just saying. But so I think we all go through these like ebbs and flows, right? Like not even ebbs and flows. It's just different points in our journey. What was the first thing you ever did when you first started working out? And be honest.
To be honest, it was in, I played tennis like all growing up. So that's like working out. And I remember doing like suicide runs where you're like running and stuff like that. And I didn't like that. And then, but I liked playing tennis though, but I hated like the training part. And then I also in middle school like ran cross country. So I remember doing that, but that wasn't like working out. Working out, that's just like running.
Perfect. But I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
That is usually phase number 1 where it's forced fitness, right? Where it's like, hey, we go to PE, we play a sport, we have to work out.
Yeah.
And that's typically most people's first exposure to fitness, right?
Totally.
It's just moving our bodies. And when we're younger, it's fun, right? Like it's our way of like meeting new people.
You go play outside and stuff.
You go play outside. And then all of a sudden we become an adult and the mindset shifts from fitness being this thing that is fulfilling and fun, people oriented to shit, I gotta look a certain way, right? But that's when most people go through phase 1 of adulthood, which is the cardio phase, which is I don't really know what I'm doing with my life. I just know that I'm supposed to be in the gym, so I'm going to do this thing that does it for me. And so what I try to help people understand is how to get out of that and transition into phase 2, which is just moving your body. Home body workouts, anything that just helps build that confidence. Did you ever have like a home gym or do body weight training? So basically my first introduction to anything like that was like, so my dad like played tennis when I grew up too. So when I was growing up, so I just like did that, and we never had like a gym membership or anything like that until in high school. I went to like PE class and we had like the weight training days. And I remembered like, it was the first time I ever like lifted weights really. Cause I remember my parents would do like, even before P90X, there was literally Power 90. It was literally P90, not the extreme. Like, and so they had like resistance bands and stuff. And I would sometimes do it with them, but it was like
It wasn't like, it was still a workout, but it was just funny because I was young. Like, I didn't really take it seriously.
But it was like fun, right?
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Watching our family do that at home as an activity, like, it still had that fun aspect, but they were doing it for their health, right? That's actually another thing that's making a comeback. These like fitness videos, like in-home training, like
I enjoyed
huge
it.
Market now.
Yeah, I thought it was cool because it's really hard to like make yourself just do a workout at home without having like a guide.
Oh yeah.
Because I find that I'm more motivated when there's other people like watching me or something. And when I'm at the gym, it's like, I don't want to look like the biggest slacker in here, you know? And like other people are working hard, like I don't want to look like a loser or whatever. Yeah. So it like helps me. But then when I'm at home, it's like no one's watching me, no one cares. Like, you know, it's all up to me, which is probably, you know, part of,
be good or bad.
It is a good thing because, you know, it works that discipline muscle.
Yep.
But, yeah, like, so in high school, I did PE, had the weight training class, and then my family actually, my brother went to Lifetime Fitness with his friend, and he loved it because there was like a rock climbing wall and a pool and all that stuff. So our family like decided to join Lifetime Fitness back in 2008. And then that was our Christmas present, was like a gym membership, which is kind of crazy, but it was really expensive. Like Lifetime is really expensive. So it was cool because like every, you know, week we would all go as a family to like Lifetime, which was sweet. And then I didn't feel uncomfortable going into the weight area because I actually had just did PE like my freshman year of high school. And so yeah, that's kind of like, it all worked.
That's perfect because that's exactly what phase 3 is. It's having the confidence in like having someone that's taught you how to work the machines or how to use dumbbells and then going into gym setting. So typically that phase 3 looks like bodybuilding or powerlifting where your only focus is, I want to get shredded, I want to get strong. And typically what activates this phase is when we're like, hey, I've got a goal and I'm ready to be disciplined and like structured and really commit to this. But then after a while, sometimes our bodies start to deteriorate or just get not as strong, right? And I think that's where phase 4 begins, where we're kind of in the later half of our fitness years or we've been training for a while. We've gotten injured, we probably got bored of our workouts, and then we start realizing, okay, maybe I should try this yoga thing and like try to like make my joints healthy.
Yup.
Right?
That's like, literally exactly what happened to me.
And so my squat record was 205 pounds. I did it out when I was gym hopping in LA. And it was such a great moment. 2 reps.
Damn.
Yep. But then I went to Baltimore and I attempted that again at this badass like Gold's Gym. Like it was super raw and I hurt my back. Like I fell.
You weren't belted?
Nope. I never used a belt. It was so bad. I hurt I was out for a while. But injury is what I believe is the greatest time period to really invest in our fitness. That's where we really test our goals. Like, why are we doing this? We realize this is for longevity and for health. And then we realize like, hey, I can train other things around this injury to make myself stronger and come back. And that's when I think we lead to, okay, let me take all these things I've done and find the fitness that makes me genuinely happy, that fits with my lifestyle. So what people get wrong is trying to insert these workouts that don't fit with their life. They think I have to do HIIT because that's how all the bodybuilders get shredded. Like, no, if you don't like running, don't do that. Go find some find a nutrition program you love. Find some sort of class you love, or do a quick 35-minute home workout.
Yeah.
But I think people need to recognize what their body needs and what their life needs. Right now, we're busy entrepreneurs, always on the hustle. I used to be that person at the gym for 2 hours, just like socializing and working out. Now I'm like 35 minutes, nobody talk to me, I'm in and out.
Literally, that's how I just was.
Yeah.
I did squats, did box jumps, did leg extensions, and my warm up was like going on the Stairmaster. I'm like, I'm out.
I did it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's for
and
health,
I was dead.
Right? Like,
yeah.
And we end up breaking a sweat. But we also learn like, okay, cool. Does being shredded equal happiness for us? Right? Like, you get to travel now. Like, you get to eat whatever you want, and you get to have friends around you. And I think it's finding what we need in our life and then letting fitness fuel it.
No, that's totally true. And I think an interesting point that you made the other day on your story as well, I was like stalking your stories like a lot.
You're the best.
And one thing that you kind of mentioned was like your goals have changed based on different phases of life that you were into? Like you said, you used to be socializing all the time. Also versus when you were single, now that you have a boyfriend, things like that. What would you say is like your current fitness goal? Because you're kind of just like you said, you're just working out like literally as hard and as little amount of time as possible.
Absolutely. Dude, to be totally honest, it's to just train my mindset. Like when I'm in the gym, the way I see it, the gym ecosystem is like the real life ecosystem. I know people are watching me because I'm sweating, I'm jumping all over the place. Like I'm in a crop top. I know people take notice of who I am, but I'm so focused on my goals, getting in that 35-minute workout, being in and out, being kind to people around me, being considerate. But my fitness goal for my aesthetic body is I just want to feel confident when I wear clothes, and I want to just be a badass boss bitch wherever I go.
Hey, I love it.
And I can do that because fitness teaches me confidence and also the mindset to never care what other people think.
Love that. Yeah, I think confidence is the number one thing that people want. Speaking of confidence, I know one thing that really helped you with your confidence is figuring out your skin issues and your diet. So tell people a little bit about that, because that's been a really long, hard journey for you.
Yeah, and once again, I think it's once you have that fitness mindset, you realize you can transfer it into anything you do.
Totally.
Right?
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Exactly.
Or how you do everything is how you do anything. I don't know. Something like that.
Discipline and structure. Yeah. That's what fitness teaches. So I knew with my skin, I had like severe hormonal acne, and it was really bad, like bumps, frills everywhere. And I got off birth control about 2 years ago, so a lot of this started developing because of that. Number two, I was doing way too much HIIT training, so my hormones were all over the place. Women don't realize.
What was the deal with that? You were producing too much testosterone or something?
Yes. So then I was doing it like 3-4 times a week. Women really should not exceed 3 times a week.
With HIIT?
With HIIT. Like cardio HIIT, where you're running like sprints on a treadmill. Body weight HIIT.
High intensity interval training for those who don't know.
Yes, high intensity, yes. And so and obviously my eating habits were off. I was eating dairy and meat and just normal, tracking my macros. Focus on my aesthetics, not my insides. Then I had to make a life switch as soon as my body started showing, hey, you need to actually take care of yourself. So I asked the internet, like I do for everything. But number one was I asked for help for a therapist, because I knew if I could take care of my mind, everything else I'd be able to take care of. And so I invested in therapy, $100 each session, but it helped me understand why I needed to invest in myself, why it was important that my outer beauty matched my inner. So that was number one. Number two, I asked people for recommendations. Holy shit, don't do that. Like, that's the worst thing. That's like reading a magazine and getting all this useless advice.
Interesting.
Not useless, but
not useless, but it's kind of like
overwhelming.
Instead of getting a personal trainer, you're just taking advice from everything, and you get little bits and pieces of everything, and then all of that. It's like getting only pieces of each math problem, and then when you calculate it all together, you're getting the total wrong answer.
Absolutely, and then you're spending a lot of money. And I knew I had to be cost efficient, so I was like, okay, these advice, it's great, but I'm going to stick to what I know is best, which is I'm going to clean up my nutrition. I'm going to clean up my habits, aka I would never wash my face before going to bed. So Umama started showering. So I learned how to be clean. I learned how to be an adult. Really hard. I had to cut out dairy and meat. Like,
how did you figure out that was the solution? Did you just try it for a while? Because trial and error is like the hardest thing with diet, because that means you also have to be super consistent, but with weird things that you're not used to being consistent with.
Exactly. But if you look up the actual medical research, those are the 2 first items that they link to your gut health, right? And so it was just a matter of cleaning up my gut. And
interesting.
Dairy is the leading cause of that. And then I cut out meat for a while. Now, I'm going to be honest. It wasn't like 100%. Like, your girl loves a steak. But I needed, for the most part, during the weekdays, I tried. And then the results just showed. I got Curology as the only face product. I invested in it myself. I had a lot of companies reach out, offering free products, but I was like, no, I want to do this the right, real way so I can actually give real advice to people. And so really...
Is Curology the one that like bases it on like your skin type and everything?
I love technology for anything. All I did was upload my pictures, and then they have a doctor online that prescribes you medication consultation based on your acne.
Whoa.
And then they send you a monthly little bottle.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
That's
I got
cool.
back on birth control.
What was I was going to ask you about birth control too, because I've been hearing a lot about like the benefits versus pros, cons of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What has been your experience and what have you learned?
So for me, getting off birth control was more of like I had to because I lost my insurance, and I was like, I'm single, I don't really need this. Like, I was trying to be a good girl, I was focused on my job, and honestly, during my first few years of fitness, my libido had completely dropped because I was working out so much.
Interesting.
So, other adverse effects of too much HIIT or too much training. Then I realized, okay, this is hormonal acne, so I do need to take better care of my body. Obviously, now I have a boyfriend, so it was more of like a decision for myself I took that definitely helped with the acne. I hope my parents aren't listening to me.
Sorry.
Yeah, they'll never find out. One day this is going to be like on CNN or something.
Yeah, I know, right? No.
Sorry.
Yeah. Back to the diet stuff. So now you're you pretty much are no meat, but you do eat eggs, right?
So I recently started eating meat again.
Interesting.
But only organic, and then on the weekends I'll sometimes have it.
What do you think is the difference? Like, why would it be organic versus whatever? Like, because I've heard like a lot of times it's like, it's not that big of a difference, blah, blah, blah. What's been it for you?
Yeah, it's once again goes back to hormones. I wish I could give you a more specific answer, but it's really, if you guys have seen what goes into making these chicken breasts so big, it's kind of scary.
Yep.
And that's what's going into our bodies. I mean, creating cancer and all these other side effects to our bodies. And obviously it's an investment, and I'm on a tight budget, but I always say go to Aldi. I got Instacart, so now that I'm busy, I can still have it delivered to my place. Like, it's when you realize like my life is worth like investing into, then you just make those sacrifices.
I'm going to take this conversation in a weird direction for a second. Yeah. What do you think about universal basic income? Because I've heard about this in an interesting way. Because like you said, you know, your body is worth investing in. And when you are, you know, adding up just like the cost of living in a real way, just like living in general costs a lot. And then on top of that, when you're taking care of your body in a real way, and you're, you know, not eating shitty food, and you're investing in a gym membership, and you're doing all these things, and you're living a regular life, you know, people have talked about this idea of like almost it would basically be like the government just like giving you a certain amount per month. Do you think that would increase people's like ability and increase their likeliness that they would be investing back into yourself, or do you think that money would be squandered on like dumb shit?
If everyone joined a SweatPack, it would definitely be investing in the right place because they'd learn discipline, structure, and good habits. But just kind of allocating the money, I think we have to kind of recreate culture for that to really be implemented. But once again, I don't know all the specifics of universal income.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like put you in a corner. Yeah. I was just thinking interestingly, because like, you know, you're saying you're like, you have to realize you have to invest back in your body. But do you think it's mainly because people feel like they don't have enough money? Like, because, I mean, a lot of people are kind of struggling paycheck to paycheck kind of deal. And it's like, it's hard when you're like, I'd rather have this versus like some new supplements or like better protein powder or organic chicken versus regular chicken. You know what I mean?
I think it's about knowledge, right? Like, I don't think people know of stores like Aldi and going to Kroger's on Wednesdays and Thursdays to pick up deals. My grocery budget's under $40. Like, I can't spend more than that. And
on a week of groceries.
Yes.
Damn.
And I'm getting
Aldi
2 proteins.
Is the
like, Aldi's the shit, yeah. Like, 2 proteins, 5 carbs, like, all my sides, everything is covered within that budget. And
wow.
Like, but I think it's educating people, but also like not overwhelming them. I think we are a preaching culture, and sometimes when we don't feel like we can do exactly what is preached, then we feel like, oh shit, I might as well go 100% the other route. That's why I preach like, hey, like, dude, have your McDonald's once a week if you need to. If you're on a budget, do it. Hell yeah. But also know that you can make your grilled chicken for the rest of the week, and it's $8 at Aldi.
Yeah. So, what's your deal with sugar right now? How much sugar are you intaking? I don't know if you're tracking it, but like are you kind of just like,
I'm very much like, I'm gonna eat whatever I want to.
I love that.
Like,
I have found recently that I am very addicted to sugar. Like
it's a hard
it's
one.
not good. And I'm becoming more dependent on coffee, which is also not a thing that I want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, it's like, damn, I don't really feel motivated. I'm like, I got that cup of coffee
pre-workout?
downstairs. What?
Do you like pre-workout?
I don't really like pre-workout that much.
Why?
I don't know. It's never really like, I don't know. Like it's never given me anything that crazy. Like I've tried some pre-workouts make me feel nauseous, which I don't like, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then some pre-workouts, like I feel a little bit of a difference, but it's not anything that crazy. And also it's another thing, like, am I gonna invest in a pre-workout or I'm just gonna like chug a coffee before, or like, you know, things like that. And I've also heard from like my dentist that certain pre-workouts are not good for your teeth.
What?
Certain things like that. So I'm like I'd rather just like black coffee is really good. I mean, like there's caffeine things that are, you know, bad about consuming a ton of caffeine, but I pretty much just drink black coffee. And I mean, if you think about it, it's just bean water. Like you're literally just drinking water that's been soaked in beans.
Don't you feel so full
when
you drink a full cup of coffee?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like pre-workout, you could take like a shot of it. You're good to go.
That's not me though. Like I've never like taken like a shot and been like, okay, let's go. Like I'm just like not that. Like I don't know.
How do you work out?
I'm all over the place. I'm really trying to get my sleep schedule on point these days. And as you know, last night I texted you at like 4 a.m. Didn't go to bed until like 5:30 last night. Like literally I woke up at like 11 and then I went straight to the gym and then I came straight here. So it was like, you know, now it's the middle of the day. If in my perfect world, I want to wake up and go to the gym first thing.
Okay.
That's because I feel this is in my perfect world. I'd wake up early, go to the gym early, be home by like 9:30 and start working. I'm already showered. I'm ready for the day. I'm ready to take on emails, tasks, all that kind of stuff. And I've already taken care of my workout. I don't have to think about it.
And you know what? That's exactly what happened to me today. Or my work week's been the same. I work really late. Then I'm like, I'll wake up at 10 a.m. and then go to the gym. It's not the same motivation. You basically waste half your day.
Literally.
We work late, but that's why I set up SweatPacks for myself to get up at 6 a.m. So I had one today. Tuesdays, we go to Stack Sports and Performance. We wake up at 6 a.m. We have to be at the gym at 6 a.m. And then I'm like, oh my God, I have the whole rest of my day to like
it's amazing,
be productive.
Right?
So that's a purpose of being able to have accountability, right? It's to actually show up. And there's a different factor of accountability when it's like a team of people are counting on you.
Yeah.
And we have this group chat for every SweatPack. That's a part of our technology we're building. And it's all about like, hey, where you at? Like, we missed you, like snag comments. So it's
accountability.
It really does help, and honestly just helps us develop better habits throughout the day.
Totally. Makes a lot of sense.
I wanted plugs everywhere.
Yes, of course, of course. I mean, it makes sense, literally.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you about something and I totally lost my train of thought. We were talking about waking up early though. And oh yeah, I remember. So a while ago, you were like talking about these little mini naps you were taking. Are you still a fan?
100%.
What is that?
Naps.
Okay. Because in the middle of the day, I find myself like so not motivated. I don't want to do shit. I want to like lay on my bed. Because also now I've got my office is right next to my bedroom. So it's like literally I can just like and like lay down and scroll. You know what I mean? And like that's the like thing. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'm just going to drink another coffee. But then that means that I'm going to be up till like 5 a.m. again. So like you're a big fan of this nap thing. I've never tried it. Give me the lowdown.
Yeah, so it's the 20-minute nap method. I use 20 minutes for everything, but 20-minute naps, the reason why it's the perfect timing is because it's really the time period that helps you re-energize your creativity, gets you refueled, but also you feel rested. It's not like you're hitting that REM sleep period, which hits at about like an hour and a half. And
is that bad to be in?
If you wake up in the middle of a REM cycle,
you're going to be like groggy.
That's when you're groggy, right? Or you end up going back to sleep and then you're out for the rest of the day.
Totally.
So I'll teach you the 1.5 hour thing for that later.
Okay.
But 20 minutes. But the rule is you can't sleep anywhere too comfortable. You have to train yourself. So sleep on the floor, sleep in your car, sleep on the couch. Like, don't put a blanket on there.
Whoa.
Right? And then, so my office is in Atlanta Tech Village, and so they have a nap room, but they know not to make that couch too comfy. But they have, they make it really nice and
I have
private.
a kind of uncomfy couch in my room.
Perfect.
So maybe I'll nap on that.
Now, typically it takes a few minutes to like get settled into the nap, but don't give yourself more than 22 minutes. So 22 minutes, then the key to actually getting up is making sure you have something you absolutely have to go to or physically like move to get done 30 minutes right after that nap. That way you are up and you kind of wake up re-energized, not in a panic, but in like a, all right, I'm ready to go get it. Yeah, and then at night, my boyfriend actually just taught me this game changer is to sleep in 1.5 hour increments, because that way we don't disturb our REM cycles. So if you're going to bed at 11, then you would count 12:30 and then 1:30. Okay, I'm not gonna do the math right.
I was gonna say, I'm like already lost.
So basically you're gonna wake up at like 6:30 a.m. if you do that, right?
Yeah.
Or 6, I forgot. Anyways.
Whatever.
Clearly.
1.5 hour increments. So add up an hour and a half, an hour and a half.
So no matter when you go to
Interesting.
bed. And
So how many hours do you normally sleep a night?
6.5 hours.
6.5.
Like 5.
4.25.
I know. I know I'm not productive if I don't sleep 6.5, 7 hours. So
Interesting.
I try to at least stay within that REM now, and it really has helped me at least get up when I need to. So it's
Interesting.
hard, but 20-minute naps, and then obviously the nutrition thing really does help with our sleep cycles. It's just the sugar keeps us up, right? Carbs are not a bad thing. Having good carbs keeps us full, sustained, our brain fresh. Having good fats that keeps our mind
When you say
fresh.
good carbs, what are you talking about? Like oatmeal or like whole grains? Like what are you talking about?
All the carbs.
All the carbs?
All the carbs.
Cool.
Yeah, every carb is a good carb. I mean, obviously,
right?
there's ones that are more nutrient dense that are better for you. But
Like
I
white
think
bread.
Yeah, like, but for me, those white sugars actually work better in my body than with brown rice or brown bread, wheat bread.
What are you basing that off of?
My bloating.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's just like how your body digests, and you won't know until you test it out, right? And I realized I was eating a lot of brown rice, but it kept me up. Like I felt more bloated and irritable.
Weird.
And so you have to test it. But
The only way you can like know that is if you're super consistent, though. That's the thing.
Exactly. And most people just judge it off 1-2 days.
Yeah, that's true. So when you were like experimenting with your diet and stuff, how many days were you giving yourself to even figure out these little things?
Yeah, I say it takes about 5 weeks of like 90%
Holy shit.
commitment to really know if something works, right? Like
Yeah.
if you go like 2 full weeks, like 100%, that's a good measurement too. But I can't ever do anything for 100%, like just nutrition wise.
Yeah.
I like eating out too much.
Yeah, same.
But everyone should give it a try 100% for at least 2 weeks.
What are some weird things that you found that were like fucking up your diet too that you didn't realize, or that'll like make you bloated or whatever that you wouldn't even never have assumed?
Hot Cheetos.
That's your weakness, isn't
It's
it?
so bad. Oh man.
Hot Cheetos.
When I figured out there was dairy in hot Cheetos, like it was
Because it's cheese.
You know, it's cheese. I guess I didn't get that. Other surprising things. Edamame was making me blow. Like
Weird,
like very dense fiber food, and it's to each body their own, right? Like, but.
Yeah, it's funny that you're bringing that up because I think it's interesting to talk about it because I think a lot of times it's preached like eat brown rice versus white rice, eat, fibrous whatever vegetables over this or whatever. But like for yourself, it's not the case.
No, and that's why I say like do enough research to be aware, but also check in with your own body. That will ultimately be the best test. That's why I try to, on my platform on Small and Strong, all I've tried to do for the past 4 years is just give out as much free information to people. Like I literally wrote out free meal plans and free nutrition guides to outline the 4 different like nutrition lifestyles. So people knew, hey, I have options. Let me try the one that works for me. And that's how I've gained their trust and helped people find a sustainable lifestyle for themselves.
And just to make things clear, you're not a personal trainer. You always say that. You're like, I'm not a trainer.
Yeah. So I did get certified from Body Design University just because I was curious, and my clients were gyms and trainers, so I wanted to understand their business model and how I could really help them. And obviously, if I was going to give out fitness tips and things like that, I wanted it to come from a good certified background. So I can practice, I have insurance and everything, but man, I do not have the patience to be a trainer. I genuinely believe personal trainers, gym owners, they are superheroes. Like, they have to be so positive, so high energy for these people that can be draining sometimes.
Totally.
They come in negative, and like, their job is genuinely to empower people, and they're so underpaid. And after working out at over 418 gyms, I just realized like every single person's so special, but I think we need to be more appreciative of them, and that my way of appreciating them is to feed them business instead.
I like it a lot. Okay, so let's get nerdy for a second. Let's get technical, because a lot of this
is not what I'm doing.
Literally. So I saw you were talking about how you were having like, not issues, but one of the biggest things that you were having like problems with was like integrating SweatPack with like the back end of all these gyms, right? And like figuring out how to integrate with these gyms. What was like, I don't even know how to go about that, because it seems like probably every gym would be running on some sort of different proprietary, not even proprietary, but just different softwares for logging all this shit.
Yeah.
So how are you like merging it all into one thing?
Yeah. So these are all new terms I'm going to drop on you guys.
Okay.
So
let's see if I know any.
This is called an API. So API basically is this little like code that talks between two different platforms. So it's
I know what that is. I don't know what it stands for though.
So I can't say it off the top of my head. Awkward. Damn it. Tyler is going to get me because that's what he does. So this API basically talks. So like you guys probably see Facebook APIs all the time where you log in with something using your Facebook credentials. Now in the gym software management platforms, MindBody is the industry leader in gym management software. Really lucky, they're actually based here in Atlanta.
Ooh.
So, but their software, it's like $10,000 to invest in up front, and then $1 every time you use their API. So things like, it's very, very costly. And so things like ClassPass have been able to scale because they do have an API or a partnership with MindBody. But the reason we are taking a different route is because we don't want to be dependent on MindBody's software. There are other software platforms out there, so we're basically creating our own, and in the long run, that's a better business strategy.
Totally.
So we're saving money, and also, you know, MindBody could take their API from ClassPass any day and create their own like gym hopping app, and then ClassPass would be screwed. So I don't want to put our company in that position.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot in a different world with GIFs, because Giphy's API is what plugs into like Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. And I'm trying to figure out a way that I'm not dependent on their platform as well with that type of stuff. Because I mean, we're beholden to all of these like platforms, you know, and like, you know, the other day Facebook went out and like all these people that depend on ads from Facebook to drive their traffic, like it's their number one driver for leads and all that kind of stuff. You know, it really makes you second guess, like, damn, we're spending, you know, thousands of dollars on Facebook advertising and marketing, and the platform goes out like, shit, maybe we should diversify a little bit.
Absolutely. And this is why every company needs to have a grassroots plan, right? This is why experiential event marketing will 100% be our main driver for connecting with our audience, connecting with our gyms, gaining their trust, because that is just human connection, right?
Totally.
Using technology to get people in person. And so in your case, it's how can I build my own platform, right?
Totally.
That relies on me to just function. And people don't realize, like, all you need is a developer, a really great idea, and all the back end, just like data points that help connect the information.
Yeah.
And you could build your own Jiffy.
So this is something that I kind of like realized recently, not realized, but just like thought about, because I always was worried about like, you know, talking to like a developer about something like this, and then them just like running away and like stealing my idea because they can make it and I can't, you know what I mean? So. And like, I always think about that, like Like, you know, but at the end of the day, a lot of these people don't necessarily have the vision or the drive that someone like you would even have to make something like this happen. Because I think it's very obvious that what you're doing with SweatPack is super ambitious, and like it is going to take a lot of fucking hard work and a lot of events and a lot of, not even convincing people to do it, but just like making people aware of it and everything. What has been your experience with working with people like that, and have you had to like face your fears with telling people about a
Oh man, why
product?
do you think I've kept this a secret for 4 years?
That's true. SP,
right? And you know, I had that same distrust, and I've had business partners in the past that have strengthened that distrust, which really for me was hard, and something I had to just learn that, hey, Umama, no one can ever be you. No one will ever have the connections that you have, the passion, the drive. If someone legitimately tried to steal SweatPack from me right now, first of all, I have a network that would take them down. And then,
it's like, good fucking
yes,
luck.
that is a threat. And then number two is, it's not just about executing on the business. That's why these businesses are all going down, because they're not serving our generation. We're passion led. We can see through the bullshit, right? And so when it comes to a developer, like, I've met really great developers, I've met really shitty ones. And at the end of the day, like, yes, they could go build it, but who's going to build the business development behind it?
Exactly.
That's actually what drives the business. The people and actually generating revenue, right? So what I've had to learn is, okay, how do I secure myself in making sure I'm the market leader, the thought leader in this industry, that no one, if they try to compete with me, great, like, we could work side by side, because at the end of the day, I want to solve a problem, right? Like, if you're there, then great, we can do this together. But I'm probably going to be ahead of you because I work resiliently, I work really fast, and I care. And that's why SweatPack is an inclusive app that empowers other leaders. So our whole platform is, it's not about me. Like, I want to take myself out of this. So that means gaining trust, right? Because I'm giving my teams a way to other team leaders to lead them. So I have to help influencers learn how to actually influence.
Yeah.
And then I have to teach a business development team how to sell the real business and not just a sales process.
Totally.
So it's a process, but mindset, that's why I train it every day, to know that in the gym, I don't see anybody, just me.
Damn. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, I think it's brilliant that you guys are doing a web app versus like a full-fledged like iPhone or Android app right now.
Yeah.
Because, not yet. That is the end goal. But like on a platform, on a thing like this, I feel like a lot of times people are like, we're launching on iPhone today, and it's like, what about everyone else? Or like, we're launching on Android, and it's like, hello. So I think it's smart that you guys are multi-platform right now. And then also, how are you guys like vetting who is a SweatPack leader right now? Like, is it all you? Is it anyone can sign up? Like, what's the deal?
Actually, this is a great time to announce it. I'm recruiting leaders right now, but I'm being very, very selective because once again, they're representing the brand, and I have over 175 influencers that have already signed up, but I want to personally interview them, make sure they have a real community. Like, these people have to show up every week, and they can't be fake, right? Like, you gotta be with people. But I think people are gonna understand who I see as a real influencer, which are people like you, right? Like, you actually care. Like, you have a very niche market that you know you are super committed and passionate about, and there's other people that look up to you for that, and so I know they would trust you for whatever recommendation you make. You're an influencer. So I was gonna bend down on a knee and ask you, like, hey Andrew, would you like to be one of our team leaders?
Put me on the spot. I don't know what I would lead though. What should I do?
So, and that's what I want to ask you, and kind of take you through the process of what SweatPack looks like. First, tell me, what are some of your goals right now? Are you running a marathon? Are you planning on competing in something? Like, do you want to play a sport? Like, what is a really like super specific goal And it can be something like my friend Tyler, for example. He
I know Tyler.
is very, he's made this like shift from bodybuilding to boxing and more mindful training. And, he's had a hard time making friends and male friends that enjoy this. So he's starting a Broga League. So every Wednesday they're meeting up for Encore or Bring It On Yoga for just boys that are like open-minded and just want to have bro time, and then they socialize afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how specific you can get.
Yeah. It was interesting because when SweatPack texted me, I saw that there was a thing for tennis, and I was like, damn, I haven't played tennis forever. So I was thinking about it would be fun to do a tennis thing.
Yes.
Because I haven't done tennis in forever. And the other thing I've been into a lot, but I haven't been consistent with in the last like 5 or 6 months is yoga. But in 2018, I went to yoga probably like at least twice a week.
Wow.
Every week. So I went, so I was a member, well, kind of. My parents still had a family plan at Lifetime. Nice. And so I would literally steal my brother's card and go to Lifetime. And it was awesome. I really got into yoga. And I probably went at least 100 times in 2018. That's and then awesome. In 2019, I've totally dropped the ball. So I want to get back into that. But also, for a while it was like I said, I was using my brother's card at Lifetime. And I'm always like getting kind of afraid of like not like getting found out that it's not really me on the account and stuff like that. I know, right? But still. And then I just joined One Life, and they have hot yoga there, so I'm like excited to try those, and I still haven't gone yet. But just in general, I just moved to a new house. Like I'm kind of getting settled in this area, so I'm kind of trying to find like things around here. So definitely yoga, tennis, and then also just like still just regular kind of like bodybuilding style lifting.
So that's your solo training, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Which I recommend everyone still continues. So a future iteration of what we're doing is adding in gym memberships. One Life is actually one of the locations we're talking to right now. So you'll get that conked.
Sick.
So that sounds great. Let's say you wanted to start a tennis league, right? And what you would do is come onto our platform, and then you would say, okay, hey, do you have a specific demographic you want to reach out to? Like OTP people, probably.
Sure,
right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so let's say there's a court over here by Chambly. I went to Chambly High School. And so let's say you guys want to meet up what's your availability look like?
Every time, all the time.
All the time. Perfect. So you say open dates.
Probably evenings, that would be fun to play tennis.
Perfect. So step 1 is setting the goal, which is, hey, I want to play sports. Then step 2, you want to pick the sport, which is tennis. Then step 3 is what location. We'll give you a bunch of courts you can play on.
Yeah.
And then times and dates. You select the one that works for you, and that's it. Then you have the option of inviting your friends, 6 people that are your friends, or if you're like, hey, I want all new people, then we publish it on our marketplace, and then people join your league. As soon as the SweatPack is full, then they all get a notification, hey guys, we're starting the league, and then you guys are added into this group chat, and then you start the next following week.
Nice.
And every single week, same day, same time, you show up, and then our enhanced chat features we're working on right now is really smart technology. We actually reward you for checking into your workout or your games. So every time you check in, our local sponsors are sending you guys rewards. So now it'd be like, hey guys, great workout today. You guys all just won free smoothies over at Gusto. So go on over there. So
Sweet.
Then that way you're accountable, you're showing up, but you're also rewarded.
There we go.
And that's
Sounds
the process
fun.
of how to be a team leader and to actually find a team and do things you love.
Nice. That's awesome. I definitely have to think about what I want to do because tennis sounds super fun.
Yoga.
Yeah, or yoga. Honestly,
we have so many yoga studios signed up, so we're so
That's
excited.
Sweet. Yeah, because the other thing is like when you're doing a yoga one, would you be signing up to just go to a class as your SweatPack, but then there's also going to be just like tons of people there too?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So that way,
makes sense.
All it is a team of like energetic people show up every single week. The gyms love it because they're like, hey, these are
6 more
reliable people, right? That actually show up,
Exactly.
high energy. And then we're not
Because when you get a gym
interrupting.
membership, you're not signing up for any specific classes. You just show up.
And can we really count on that?
No. Lifetime tried to integrate a system where you had to reserve spots, and it was so dumb because people would reserve spots and then not show up, and then people would look at the schedule and be like, oh, well, this class is full. And then like 5 people would show up because people that wanted to be there saw that it was full, and then the people that were just like hopeful and like, oh, well, I need a reserve spot in case I want to go, and they would reserve a spot, and then they wouldn't actually show. And so it was detrimental on both ends. And it was stupid because people would, it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Someone checks in and someone doesn't check in. The person who doesn't check in shows up 30 minutes early, gets their spot, sits in the front of the class. And then there's someone that's like, runs in the door last minute, like, is there a spot, blah, blah, blah. Well, I reserved a spot. And it's like, well, show up like before. Okay. You know what I mean? That's like my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, but you know,
I've been that guy too.
The gyms are trying. It's actually, research has shown that 1 in 5 Americans have a gym membership, but
they don't use it.
67% of them don't use it.
Yeah.
Because of things like this. So gyms are trying to implement policies, but at the end of the day, we have priorities in life.
Yeah.
But what humans don't like doing is disappointing other humans, right? That are counting on them. So accountability isn't just a reservation or a late fee or whatever. It's, hey, someone cares about my existence and they want me to be here.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why so many people don't use their gym membership, so when I actually used to work at Lifetime Fitness.
Lifetime is very much a part of your journey.
It really is.
It's
a part of my
lifetime
fitness. No, but I was a member there for over like 10 years. So basically, or like almost 10 years, kind of a member. I was still going. When I worked there, I asked so I was in member services and I was in charge of like making sure people didn't eventually I was in charge of trying to get people not to quit. People would come in and want to cancel their membership and I was in retention.
Yeah.
So I was retention certified and I would basically try to incentivize them to stay or whatever, which is hilarious because I just quit at Crunch the other day and they were asking me all these questions. I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, but I'm sorry. I know all the tricks and I'm leaving. But I was joining another gym. It wasn't like I was just quitting because I was giving up on fitness. Yeah. But the funny thing is I asked my, because a lot of people were like, well, Crunch just opened up right down the street and it's like $20 and Lifetime's like $80. So I'm leaving. And I asked my team leader or whatever, I was like, why is Lifetime so freaking expensive? Because we can't compete with these gyms that are $20. It doesn't make any sense for someone who just wants to come and work out to join Lifetime. And they basically said it's actually because the majority of our members actually show up. And if we lowered the prices, we would have more members and then our gym would be too crowded and people wouldn't get the luxury experience that they want.
Absolutely.
And so I think that the reason why people aren't going is because the gym memberships are so cheap at these places like Crunch or Anytime Fitness or whatever.
It doesn't hurt.
That it doesn't hurt to pay $10 when you don't show up because you're like, you see it come out of your bank account, but it's more of just whatever. Maybe I'll go next month.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Gyms like Planet Fitness, that's how they operate.
Yeah,
they
literally.
They sell 15,000 memberships with a capacity of 300, right? But they count on you not to show up. But
so how do we combat that?
So we combat it with actually doing setting up gym memberships with a valuable price, right? But people need to see the value. The number one reason most people don't show up is because they don't enjoy it. Number 2, they don't know what to do. And number 3 is they don't have any sort of accountability. And that's why SweatPack solves for all 3, for both the member as well as for the gyms.
Cool. So ideally, what is your avatar person that's joining SweatPack? How often are they interacting? How often are they actually going and doing their SweatPack activity? Is it a once a week thing? Or do you expect most people to join multiple ones? What's the ideal?
Yeah, based on the behavior of how people work with sports leagues, we expect our number one customer to be someone that moved to a new city and they're looking to meet people and fill up their schedules. So about 2 to 3 weeks. I believe staying active with fun things 3 times max is awesome. works with a lifestyle, and you get that social aspect.
And how much are people going to be spending to join a SweatPack? Do they all cost the same, or are they all different prices?
So it's kind of like Airbnb. All the gyms list the price that works for them. And then, so you pick the pack that works for your price range. But most of them are starting within $40 and up to $150. We're probably taking a lot of CrossFit members away because now they have the flexibility of having that team aspect they love from CrossFit, but with more options.
What's your opinion on CrossFit?
I love it. I think I love the Olympic style lifting. I think they have an amazing community. I think every workout has its faults, but you should always do your own research and show up committed to yourself. I'm positive. And I love
that. Was a safe answer.
Yeah, but I work with Hillcliff, so I work with all the big CrossFit athletes. Seriously, I love the CrossFit community more than I've loved any of the other ones.
Have you ever done an obstacle course race?
Hell no.
Why not?
I can't run for shit.
You don't run that much. Like if you do one like Savage.
Do you see my calluses right now?
No, but like okay. So if you do what's the one?
I went to Tough Mudder and Spartan Race. Like I've seen it.
Yeah, Spartan. Okay, so Tough Mudder is like long as shit, and you do like 20 obstacles. Spartan Race, you do like half the distance or maybe even less, and you do like 25 obstacles.
Yeah.
And so you have more obstacles, less running, and the time, like, so you're not just running the whole time. It's not like you're just like, if you're in the beginning packs where you're like actually competitive and you're trying to like win shit, like you're like running, you do the obstacle and then you just keep running. But like if you're in the end, you literally just run, and then you like there's so many people waiting in line literally for the obstacles that you have time to like chill and hang out for a second, do the obstacle, help people. That's the other thing is it's cool because you like literally try to help people. Like some people can't get over the wall or whatever, so you like help them over and whatever. I'm surprised you've never like done one.
For me, I guess I was always just scared of getting hurt, which is stupid, right? Like I do so many stupid shit.
I was gonna say you're doing HIIT workouts.
Yeah, I know, but I'll join a SweatPack where everyone is training for an obstacle course, and I'll do it that way. That way, I'm actually. How do you train?
Well, I guess you just go to a ninja gym.
Yeah, or have you seen the Stone Summit? That's they have like an actual cardio area, but then you can do bouldering, you can do like HIIT stuff.
I used to be really into rock climbing. I used to do rock climbing like all the time because at Lifetime, again, they had a rock climbing gym, and I joined the rock climbing team when I was in high school. Yeah, I was like early high school. Yeah. And I didn't actually join the rock climbing team because I remember my parents wouldn't pay for it, but I basically hung out with the rock climbing team and did all the same shit as them, but I just didn't pay the dues, so it was like didn't matter. And I was homies with all the leaders and stuff. But and then I got more into it and stuff. But yeah, there's like I think if you're training for an OCR, you would probably want to do a ninja gym rather than a rock climbing gym. Yeah. Just because there's like different, like
the actual kind of courses.
But either way, they're kind of like similar.
But there's a lot of OTP ninja courses.
Yup, Ninja Quest. That one's the shit.
That's in Kennesaw. We have so many people that live out there that have already asked for SweatPacks. So maybe that's one I can propose to them.
Totally. If I lived closer to there, I'd go there a lot more. I used to go there every week because they had like a deal. They had like Ninja Night or something like that. I would drive all the way out there. It's super fun. And also, there used to be a place in Norcross called Slingshot.
Yeah,
now it's called something else. And I used to go there every single week. They rebranded and they renamed it now. It's like Nitro Fun or something stupid. Okay. But apparently it's like the same thing, but I don't think it got the same buzz. Oh. I was probably going to go under again. I don't know.
That location was just...
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was sweet. Yeah, it was an old BJ's. It was like a wholesale store. But yeah, it was sweet because back in the day, me and my friends, it was like they had like family night and you could get up to 6 people and it cost like, I think it was like $50 per family. But if you had 6 people, it was like literally $10 each person or whatever. Yeah. And you could go and do unlimited ninja course, unlimited go-karting, and unlimited bowling all like for like 4 hours. And we would go every single week. So it was such a blast.
Oh my God.
But then so many people figured out about it. And then the go-karts, the lines were like so long that you could only ride it like once if you were lucky. Yeah. And then you had to wait for a bowling lane. But back in the day, that was the bomb. Like
back then,
it was the best. Yeah. But it wasn't sustainable, I guess. And like for that cheap, how do you run a place like that for that cheap?
Well, that's why it's out in Gwinnett, so I'm not as expensive. But that's also why they haven't had much traction. But, that's why with SweatPacks, we're trying to help bring more people, consistent people, right?
Because it's not really, but also it's kind of like the people that would train at somewhere like Ninja Quest would like laugh at the slingshot people because it wasn't looked at as like a serious training facility.
I saw serious people there, man.
There was, but it was kind of a joke because it was also like, oh, you're going to go to the go-kart place? Like, oh, you're going to go train for... Because like the Ninja Quest, like they're changing up the obstacles every week. There's literally like the people that work there like are on the show.
Yeah.
Like the architects that like literally build obstacles for the show. Like some of them work at Ninja Quest. Like, there's just like OGs there. And then Slingshot was kind of just like the more commercialized, like... Fun. Goofy. It was like if Ninja Quest was like a powerlifting gym and then like Slingshot was like Crunch or something. It's like, oh, cool, you're gonna like lift competitively at Crunch, okay.
That's a really great analogy for that.
I mean, it basically was kind of how it was.
That's exactly it. But like people don't know things like that exist, right? And people want to be active in fun ways, but with those small businesses, I think they just don't, like they're the ones that rely on Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
Or don't know how much to spend. And
I
think it's getting the right people, and that's why like the influencer model, I believe, is if very well done, can be the most lucrative.
Interesting. What do you see people doing wrong on social media and in marketing and just in general? Like in your worlds that you work in, what do you feel like people are doing that you cringe at or whatever?
People don't actually care. I think, and it sucks because I think they do, but there's been so much misinformation of how they need to portray
Consumers don't care, or
no, the actual
businesses,
influencers or businesses, right? Like they forget who their audience is and what they show up for. So it's like as a business, if someone is following you on Instagram, first of all, why do I really care to follow a business on Instagram?
Very true.
What value are you actually providing me? Like with our SweatPack page, I was like, okay, this isn't going to be just a bunch of pictures of people in sweatpacks. We're going to offer fun content of what it's like being a part of a team or meeting friends, awkwardness, whatever. As an influencer or community leader, I think we get so caught up in the, oh my God, I need to get sponsored, or like I'm not getting enough engagement, blah, 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 instead of focusing on who's showing up for me right now and what can I offer them that they can continue to like trust me to come back for. And I think we are getting to a new phase where people are like, oh, raw authenticity and vulnerability. But I think it's being so overpreached that it's coming off like, yeah, I want you to feel bad for me, so that's why I did.
It's like honesty posts, guys. Yeah. I've been really thinking about this. Blah blah blah. It's everywhere.
I know, and
it sucks because
I think it's because people just don't know how.
It's funny because you were kind of like a person that did that before it was cool. Like especially before when you like didn't even show your face on your profile. Yeah. Like you were literally just documenting your progress. You didn't even want anyone to like know who you were, or, like what was going on.
Yeah.
How long were you anonymous for?
2 years.
Holy shit. Imagine being anonymous on Instagram for 2 years now.
Well, like because I just cared about people.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's fucking real.
But I think the raw vulnerability piece, I think it's, think about why people are coming to listen to you, right? People are selfish. They want to know what are they going to get out of this situation. Even if this is about you, like most people are coming to see that situation to know there's hope at the end of the tunnel. So I know I'll show my vulnerable moments because I'm unstoppable. I will get through anything. So I show the real moments of like, shit, this is really hard right now.
Yeah, or you're crying,
hey,
or
look
whatever.
At me, I just won this competition. Yes, the hard work was worth it. So I'm going to show you exactly what it means, but I'm not asking for a pity party, or I'm not doing this at the end to pitch a sale for something, right? And if there is a business intention behind it, like make sure it's very clear to that person that, hey, you know, this is genuinely something that helped me, not because I'm trying to sell you an object.
Totally. I remember last time we talked, one thing you were saying that you did was, you know, like responding to people in DMs with like a video.
Yeah.
Do you still do that a lot?
100%.
Yeah, I feel like no one does that, and every time I've done it, it's always been like really positive. Yeah. I really like the voice message thing on Instagram too. Really, I do voice all the time.
So I do voice to text, but to me, I guess I like looking at myself. No, I just think it's more personal. Like, most of the people I'm talking to are out of Atlanta, so I like to create a real connection like we're in person.
Yeah.
But
like,
voice gets the job done when you're driving.
That is very true. When you think about the next wave of like social media and things like that, because you mentioned that businesses, no one's following a business anymore. I think in the beginning stages of Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, it was kind of a novelty to follow a business that felt like it had a personal touch to it. Yeah. Like a clever bit, you know, like you'll see like Wendy's on Twitter, like tweeting like sassy things and people are like, oh, that's kind of fun. But then like now it's like all the fast food chains are doing that too, where they're just trying to like throw shade on people. Yep. Yeah, exactly. What do you think that next wave is? Because, you know, we talked about how no one's really following brands. Everyone's kind of doing this like authenticity, but it's kind of also a little bit like, not necessarily fake, but forced, and everyone feels like they have to do it. What do you think that next like wave is that people are going to be looking for?
I think it's, how do I take what you're doing online and meet you and get something like a real social life interaction. As much as we are on technology, I think we are all shifting to, hey, I'm realizing I'm lonely, I need some human interaction. Totally. That's why I think events are a great place for brands to be, or brands to work with influencers that have real personalities, because they actually become brand ambassadors, right? Like, all these people at the events genuinely understand what the product is about. Then everyday people become influencers or impactors for that brand. And I think when brands start to notice that now, they're going to be the ones to scale. And also just like creating experiences. Like, if you are just another like coffee brand, cool. Why would I drink yours versus the 99-cent coffee or the free coffee I can get? Oh, it's because I talked to you. I met the founder. Like, I love what it stands for. I got to go in a slip and slide race in this coffee. Like, actually, that's a really good idea.
That is a great idea.
Someone should do that.
Steal it if you want it.
But I'm saying, like, that's what creates brand loyalty now. It's showing the real people behind the brand.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah. So, as there's probably a lot of people out there trying to start a side hustle, trying to do a thing, trying to, make something happen on the side, whatever. How do you create an event around your thing when you don't really have that big of an audience? Like, or you don't feel like you have that big of an audience or whatever?
How many people does it take to have an event? 3. That's it. Then all you have to do is get conversation and a general idea of what the purpose of the event is, right? Like, create something that's very different, get 3 people that love it, then ask them to invite 1 friend, then it expands. Then create trust, creating a monthly series or something that adds value all the time, and then reach out in DMs, send personalized messages, like have gifts and giveaways, interact and collaborate with brands and other gyms or other businesses and get those people together. Collaboration will always be the key to connection and growth. And people are not willing to put in the work right now where it takes to genuinely get people to say yes to coming in person. But if you sent me a video DM that said, hey, like, Umama, I haven't got to talk to you yet, but I love all the content. I just watched your thing about dogs, blah, blah, blah. It was so funny. It'd be cool if you wanted to chat about it in person. I'm actually hosting an event on dogs on July 20th. You want to come out? Here's a link if you're interested. Bam. If you got that, would you say no, or would you ignore it like every other poster there is on Instagram?
No, definitely not.
It comes to personalized.
It's the personalized.
But you can do it at scale. I do believe you need to do it at scale to be once you're at a place where you need to reach as many people. So that's why I work with Front Door, which is a text automation platform. So I can like the text you got. Sorry, we had a glitch in the system. But yeah,
I was literally awake writing this thing. I was
a ghost.
Literally last night. I was writing the script for the intro and the outro that I'll put at the beginning and end of the podcast. And I was writing the word SweatPack, and I got the text from SweatPack.
Like, where are you coming from?
That was trippy. Because the other day, this creepiest thing happened. Me and AJ were driving, and I accidentally called my friend Richard, and then we were talking about somebody, and we were like, dude, he doesn't even have a Southern accent. Where did he get that from? Because like on his, like recently this dude like started having a Southern accent. We're like, what the fuck? And then Jalila, Richard's girlfriend, texts me, yo, he doesn't even have a Southern accent. Where did he get that from? And I'm like, is she listening to me? Like, does she, like, what the fuck? Is she, like, next to me?
Dude,
like, is she in my trunk?
100%
Like, I freaked out.
in talking
But you know what
people
happened?
What?
I accidentally butt dialed Richard, and they were listening to my conversation. And it was so funny because, like, literally, I was like, wait, Jalila just, what the fuck? And then Jalila texts me, wait, what the fuck? And I'm like, what? Like, I was literally geeking out. I thought Jalila was like in my car or something.
Oh my God.
I was freaking out. And then she then I realized I was on the phone with them. I'm like, God damn it. But it was so funny because like it felt like that when that happened. I'm like, are they watching me? I was like, did she know I'm on their website right now? Does she know that I'm watching her stories right now? Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, we're watching you everywhere. That's technology now.
We're
just trying to really get connected. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
But using text automation platforms, nothing creepy like that.
No.
That basically like sends it out at scale. So I believe in getting DMs, and I actually collect phone numbers versus emails now.
Yeah, I like that.
I focus heavily on that because I know I'm gaining your trust if you're giving me your number.
Not very many people are investing in the text message marketing where it's annoying yet. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, email
But thank
marketing
God.
is hella annoying.
Yeah.
And text message marketing, like, thankfully, no one's abusing it on my end yet.
Yeah.
And also, there's been, you know, advances where you can, like, block numbers and things like that. So if it gets really annoying, you can just block them.
block it.
But, you know, it's funny, though, because I have your number from because your first texting platform that you released, obviously, that was a test for what you're doing now with SweatPack, which is another layer, which is genius. And I have your number from that saved in my phone as Robo Umama.
No! Damn it.
like, oh, I'm getting a text from Robo Umama.
Well, it's funny because it does like say like, hey, what's up? Like, and it'll have like their names and like customize their birthdays. And I mean, technology solves for a lot of things to feel connected. But at the end of the day, like, it'll always come down to those, hey, like I'm personally saying, I would love for you to be a team leader. That makes that connection and trust. But those are those big level conversations.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you're totally right. And I think also one thing that really solidified my, like, I don't even know, my community or whatever was when we had my 1-year anniversary / birthday party.
Yeah.
Like, I think about that event like all the time with the podcast because it was like so cool to have all these people all at once in the same place. It was super fun, and like I definitely want to. I was thinking about it again this year because it like crept up on me. And I'm like, shit, I didn't plan anything. It would have been cool to like do something, but it was like too late. And I'm like, whatever. But I thought about it. I'm like, dang, that was like so cool. I need to like do more events or something.
But I think people put too much emphasis on what it has to be. All an event is a gathering of people and then with a common goal, right? You could literally just say, hey guys, I'm going to be at Painted Pin, 8 p.m. I know everyone likes to have fun, meet each other, and play some games. Let's do that. But what people need to realize, especially for first few events, is to have something interactive because otherwise these networking events, it's just awkward.
I hate networking events.
It's the worst. So, but if you give them an activity, then they'll bond, they'll actually talk,
and
then they'll leave with a positive experience that's associated with your brand.
Totally. I used to work in an escape game place for a while, and that was like a huge thing because we worked with all corporate clients pretty much. And it was all, like, during the week, it was all corporate, and then during the weekend, it was, like, whoever. Yeah. And it was interesting to see the dynamic because when corporate clients, sometimes they were, like, already really a good team, and then sometimes it was literally, like, we're meeting for the first time, and we're all getting hired, and we're doing this as, like, an icebreaker kind of thing.
Because that's what it comes to, but now they can join SweatPack, so it's fine.
Are you doing corporate deals?
So corporate wellness, that's a big part of our model. Think about it, they're joining sports leagues, like they have the biggest budget and they want their employees to interact.
I feel like that's like kind of your big focus because it seems like with a lot of the stuff that you're doing, you're going for like where's the money at, which is smart.
So
like we're in a little bit, like in certain ways, like
strategic.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, you have to think who's gonna fund all this shit. You know what I mean? Like literally, you know, if you want to make something big happen, you're either gonna have to partner with someone big or have like investors or whatever.
Yeah.
What has been your model right now? I know you're trying to like get, involved in pitch competitions and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So I actually had to make this decision yesterday. So very convenient question. So based on my research on other fitness tech companies, I'll just say like ClassPass, for instance, they did really well and they scaled really quickly. But they lost the trust of gyms. They lost the trust and customer service of their consumers.
Why?
Because they had so many investors. They made over $250 million or had $250 million in investment. So as soon as you have those high-level investors that aren't exactly invested into the vision, they're worried about when they're getting their money back. So the business model quickly shifts to how do we get as much profit margin without actually caring about what the actual intention. Now, I don't think this speaks to Pyle, who is the founder of ClassPass. I have so much respect for her. She's a small and strong brown Indian woman. I love her. But I also know this is definitely deterred from her vision, but she had to do it to scale it. Mm-hmm. So after learning from that experience, I do realize, okay, so I don't want evil investors that don't care about my friends. These are my friends. Every single person that will be on SweatPack, like I care genuinely. So I'm going the pitch grant route. I am obviously a female minority, so I have some opportunities to apply. But really, I'm gonna focus on building a really good product and getting as many teams involved, and then doing some fundraising on the side, because I want people to truly be a part of this where they're invested in this. If you're starting a new colony in a new city, like I want you to be one of the leaders that feels connected to SweatPack to help it grow.
Interesting. No, that makes a lot of sense though. What do you, I think I heard of a similar thing just the other day of, I can't remember the company name and I don't want to throw them under the bus anyways, but it's a similar thing where you were saying like with ClassPass, they had all these investors and then, they kind of have to not necessarily throw people under the bus, but it's like they end up treating the gyms that partner with them and their consumers, they're focusing on making money first and they get the second hand, they get the short end of the stick. I heard of a similar thing with gear rental. One of my friends who runs a production company, he was renting out some like lights, and basically these companies, they you set your own price, kind of like at Airbnb or whatever. Yeah. You set your own price, but what they were doing was they were offering these like 6-day, 7-day rental like price cuts, where like if you rented it for over a certain amount of days, you got like 50% off. And he's like, what the fuck? Like I'm trying to rent this for like $40 a day, and now at the end I'm gonna get like $10 a day for this. It's not even worth it. Like, and these people aren't even taking care of my, no one's going to take as good of care of my gear as I will, all this kind of thing. And so like, he basically was saying, it seems like this company is, just profiting off the fact that they've got all these people willing to rent gear, but at the end of the day, they're not treating those people with the respect that they deserve.
Yeah. And it's hard.
Yeah.
Like when you get involved in the investor world, and there are good investors, there are people that care, but I think people need to be cautious before they get started.
Yeah, I heard. So my friend Kat, you met her. We recorded our last episode in her apartment. She was on my friend Cam's podcast, and Cam was on my podcast this week. So it's a whole thing. But on Cam's podcast, she was talking about the difference between scaling versus growing. And she was saying how a lot of people misuse the term scale, and they're really just talking about growth. Where do you feel like at a certain point things are going to change with your business, like where you're going to have to be, like as of right now, you can afford to like be in the trenches and do all this stuff. Like at what point do you feel like you're going to be overwhelmed on your own, and how do you feel like you're going to bring in other people that like share your vision, stuff like that?
So what we call this is after product market fit. So once you realize you have a really great product, you have really great traction, you have, for SweatPack, the gyms coming to you saying, we want this, and then consumers saying, we want more. So it's supply and demand. We need to make sure that we're ready to handle all that business, right? So what I realized is I got to do that fast. We already have that product market fit, and the technology and the team has to be ready to support that. And that's what I think the difference is with growth and scale. Growth is, I'm still trying to figure out what the business is, what the product is. That's what I did for 4 years. So I did the growing for 4 years. Now scaling is, I'm ready to go. I need to give people the product that they want. So it's go time for us.
Exactly. Very, very cool. Yeah. So as far as SweatPack, you're launching on July 20th, right? That's like the first event.
Yes. So that'll be where we list majority of our gyms and sports leagues. Our app will be V2, which will come out this fall. And then we're doing a whole SweatPack tour next year. So excited for all that.
Awesome. And you said so this isn't just in Atlanta. Right now, most of the SweatPacks that have like launched or whatever on your website are all in Atlanta, but you're launching in like most major cities, and you're focusing on cities that have a lot of like young people, right?
Yes. All focus on millennials that are moving to those big cities, as well as a heavy fitness culture. So Atlanta doesn't really make the cut typically, but I'm making sure Atlanta becomes that capital, or becomes known for being the fitness tech capital of the world.
Why do you feel like we missed the cut?
Because we aren't investing in our fitness companies. And that's why the West Coast will always trump us, is because they have more vision and light and trust in ideas. Here we're more like protecting our money, and we want to know we'll get our returns. So that's why I have to go to Kickstarter route, or I have to get investors from the West Coast. But that's why. But Atlanta, I believe, absolutely should be on the map, because we are loud, we are community oriented. Like, we just need to be given the opportunity and investment to do it, and we will thrive. Yeah.
It was interesting because on your story, you were talking about how Arizona was one of the places that people were like, yo, why not Arizona? I was thinking Arizona too, because when I went to visit a friend there, I felt that same thing, because there's a lot of college students and things like that there, and then people are done and they just feel this like, because it's like, you know, all these young people living in apartments not talking to each other. You know, and like, you don't even know who your neighbors are, all that kind of stuff, because people are weird and awkward and they don't talk to anyone.
It's that post-college life that's the most awkward. Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to grow up, but then maybe not.
Yeah, and also like, where do you go to like meet people your age and stuff? Because it's like, you go to like a bar or something, and it's like younger people, and then you like go to places, then you're like, I'm hanging out with like 40-year-olds, like what the fuck? Like, where's my spot?
And what I've realized is apps like Meetup have helped until this point, but it's not super narrow focus, and that commitment, weekly accountability isn't there. And Arizona is a really great city for fitness, right? Obviously, you have a lot more outdoor activities, amazing gyms. And I'm so proud of the community I've built on Instagram, because, man, I have people freaking Hawaii. I was like, I will go there for you. To like New York, Miami, Maine, like everywhere. They're just like, hey, I'm ready, sign me up. Like, I will start this here for you. So that's definitely what makes SweatPack a differentiator, is I don't have to pay all these people to like salespeople to go in.
Because the leaders actually get a cut, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
And and it's their teams, right? They're building their city. They're building the events that are going to be there.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you also about, you know, you said people here are like worried about, you know, holding on to their money, make sure they get their ROI and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I remember you talking about a while ago on your stories about giving some advice to people, and you were talking about KPIs, which is a key performance indicator, right? Yeah. So like for me, for example, I've started a media agency recently with AJ, and we're working on, you know, video projects, GIFs, all that kind of stuff. And one of the hardest things that I've really been dealing with is portraying the value of certain things that aren't necessarily inherently measurable. Like, for example, you know, if you're Napa Auto Parts and you have a billboard in Turner Field, how do you measure the value of that? I mean, obviously you're getting lots of eyeballs, but like, how do you even, because people always want to track their data now. It's like, well, I want to be able to track this person down to this, and like, because we did this, I spent this, and now I got this sale, blah, blah, blah. And there's certain things like with video or, you know, media, that it's hard to track that ROI. And how do you have KPIs that make sense for both parties?
I think it's important to, first of all, make sure that's set from the beginning with what your client's expectations and their goals are. Like if their goal is brand awareness, we just want to interact and engage and just get as many eyes on this as possible. That's a really great client that would work better for visual work.
Totally.
Now, if you're working with a client that's like, hey, I need the money, I need the sales, we should probably go Facebook ads or something more tangible route, right? But to really show them the value, it's to understand what their values are and not to take on clients from the beginning that don't see it. Like you shouldn't be selling the value of what you have.
Yeah, exactly. We had a client recently where there was like a middleman person that basically told us the deal was done. And then we showed up we were like ending up pitching this guy for like forever. And I'm like, okay, he doesn't see the vision of what we're talking about here. Like this is pointless.
And there's so many people that care. And the thing is, every single company needs to be investing in video. Like I just like started budgeting assistant, video, and then the rest of my team. Because think about it, to scale for any company, people need to know who you are, right? And how you make them feel. But that's why it's also important for the agencies to also understand what the actual brand is about, but who their customer is, right? And what type of differentiated content can we make that makes sense for them. Like the GIFs, perfect branding for anyone that does events, right? Or anyone that gets people in person. For like an All-State or things like that, I'm not really sure I would ever use something like that, right? But like for a brand that is experiential, absolutely. Because guess what? You're not only getting them to say yes to you by using it, but now they've got their friends' eyes on it too.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's really huge for like experiential type things. I also just think like, again, it's hard to track. Like for example, literally millions of people that are like seeing my face. It's not equating to, direct people being like, oh, that's Andrew Deitsch from the Andrew Deitsch podcast. I'm going to go listen to his thing. But it's like the perception of like you being everywhere all at once. Like people start to, it's kind of like once you buy a yellow car, you start to see a yellow car everywhere. Yeah. So it's like once someone gets on your radar and then you start seeing them everywhere, I feel like that's something you're really good at.
Absolutely.
It's like once people have like stumbled across your Instagram page once, maybe they don't like follow you or whatever, but then they see you're throwing an event or they're maybe seeing, they're like, oh, well, my friend Michael follows her too. Oh, well, cool or whatever. And like that was kind of actually how I got introduced to you because I'd seen your page through like, mutual friends or whatever. And then we became friends in real life and now we're here. But it's just interesting how like, just putting yourself out there is so crucial, but people don't understand the value of investing in that sometimes.
It comes back to consistency, just like our fitness, right? Like you've got to be in people's faces, but in a meaningful way. That's why associating with the right brands, like if you're going to work with the Braves, like you need to make sure that audience is exactly who you want and that they're coming back, interacting with the brand in a meaningful way.
So when you say like interacting in a meaningful way, like a lot of business Instagrams, like you said, are just kind of like, why would I even follow this brand? What are some ideas for like value that brands can give on an Instagram page besides just like a fucking quote or something? You know what I mean?
It comes down to what their actual product or service is and who their audience is. What solves their problem? If you have a millennial audience, you're most likely talking, like, let's say it's a bank, right? Like a bank is boring. Why the hell would I follow a bank? Okay, cool. Maybe your platform is all about educating, right? Like, hey, this is all money tips, but I'm going to do it using memes because I know my audience is millennials. So memes to help give knowledge. And then, like, let's say it's a carousel and the last carousel slide is use Synchrony Bank. Like, this was sponsored by Synchrony, something like that. Or if we're talking about like a gym, right? It's every gym is going to post workout videos or just highlights of their class, but do something different. Like, hey, here's an actual challenge. Here's a free workout guide. We want to gain your trust. We want to get you inside. Here's like a 30-second challenge we want. Here's our members interacting, like a real experience, not just a fake review. Like show authentic, real audience catered content.
I was going to ask you something and then I forgot. It was about like with businesses that are on Instagram and stuff. Oh yeah, I remember. So with influencer marketing, I feel like a lot of people want to be like influencers so they can get like free stuff and not even necessarily to like build anything off of it. I know you, for example, have a lot of thoughts on this. What is your current state of the influencer world, and why should someone aspire to be an influencer versus like why should businesses be interested in investing in influencers, stuff like that, and what should they be looking for in a good influencer versus one who's like a poser?
I think we need to go back to what the definition of an influencer is, right? It is someone that has impact, right? That if they say something, it causes you to make a decision based on them, right?
Totally.
So first defining that, and then understanding, okay, if I'm the influencer, what is it that my people, my audience, that I actually care about, I can deliver to them? Then it's understanding, okay, I get what they want, what their needs are. What brands can help me get that message to them or give them really great product offerings that solve a problem for them? So I think it is very important to do collaborations with brands and to help provide resources, but to really gain the trust of people first, right? And that happens by asking questions and like offering free, knowledgeable content, gaining their trust. And then as a brand, when they're looking for influencers, I think they need to figure out what niche they're looking at and that influencer's niche. But instead of looking at engagement metrics like followers, I believe they should be looking at comments. Comments are the biggest test of whether or not people actually trust that person, right? So the comment section, biggest advocates. Then going in and seeing what else are they doing besides posting content, right? Like, are they video focused? Are they photo focused? Does that align with my brand? Then right now, the biggest problem in the industry is there's no guidelines. Obviously, they're trying to regulate it a lot more, but paperwork, like you need to have a scope of work, you need to have KPIs, you need to have a deliverables report, then an ROI report, a media kit. Like these are basics people don't know to have. And I think that's why I've been able to succeed with partnerships like Nike, Lululemon, Under Armour, Bumble, Mercedes-Benz, because I give them legitimate paperwork because I'm a real business. Like, especially if I'm going to put you in front of my friends who trust me, like, first of all, you're going to see my value. And then you're going to know exactly what I'm going to deliver. I know exactly what you're going to give me, but I also know what the intention is, right? Most of the times brands kind of send a product without any instruction on what to do or what the goal or outcome is. So an influencer is left to kind of be creative, which is great, but sometimes having just that creativity isn't good enough for a brand. So then frustration begins with the influencer because they're like, well, you want me to keep creating this content, you have to pay me more. But influencers don't even know how to price themselves. Yeah. So there's a lot of just misinformation or lack of conversation around documenting all.
Do you think people are underpricing themselves or overpricing themselves in that regard? Like, because I think a lot of people, there's two camps. There's people that think that they're hot shit and they deserve to be making a lot of money, and then there's some people that are like, I don't know, I'm just posting on Instagram, I'll just take free product, and they don't want anything.
I think it's you determine what your value is, right? Like, I definitely think people are probably undervaluing themselves because they don't realize how powerful they are. Like, if they're a real person of influence, that's a lot of power. That is you saying yes to something and converting thousands of sales. I've seen it happen in front of my eyes with my products or my contracts. Yeah. And so I think people need to understand that the engagement metrics come down to the comments, and influencers should be focused more on just meeting real people. Stop focusing on floating these numbers, instead focus on the comments, the real connections, and making sure those comments are directly related to the content. And then brands can pay more attention to that and then pay more because of that. And another thing I'm seeing is PR. Like, that's another thing people are not taking advantage of. Reach out to magazines or these companies and whatever, get legitimized, and then raise your prices. Yeah. Like, I won't do anything under $1,200.
Yeah. It's funny how much PR will actually like do for a perception versus what it actually is sometimes.
Yeah.
I just spit everywhere. Like do you know the brand that's like Voyage ATL?
Oh yeah.
It's so funny because they. No, it's funny because the first time I got like featured in there, I was like, oh, this is sick. But then I realized that like literally all their articles are just copy and pasted what you literally send them. I'm like, oh, I get it. But it's smart because it gives you a perception that you're like featured in this publication. It's like, guys, I was just featured in Voyage ATL. No shit on Voyage ATL. They're doing their thing and they're based in like every city. There's like Voyage LA, Voyage New York, Voyage ATL, whatever. But it's just funny because like the first time it was like, it was really cool. Yeah. You were like, oh shit, Andrew had an article written about him. But it's like, I wrote the article.
But still, I mean, think about what Voyage's goal was. They're just trying to get as many eyes on the website. They know that everyday people have more impact than these bigger people. Most likely, if they wrote an article on me, I wouldn't share it because I probably don't care as much.
Exactly. And you know the secret sauce.
Exactly. And I know what their intention is. So I'll be like, you pay me to write that. Right? But I think what they're doing is great, and I love that they're giving everyone a voice. I got reached out to. Honestly, I just got lazy and didn't feel like answering those questions.
I know. No, it's funny because even if you write like one sentence, they'll still like publish it, which is hilarious. Because it's so funny. Because when you scroll through the website, sometimes you scroll for like forever, and then some of them are like one scroll, and you're like done with it. But it's just hilarious. But what was I gonna say? Shit. With like PR and stuff like that. Don't remember.
On a podcast.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. My friend Cam was here from Denver, and he just started a podcast, 6-figure roadmap, and they already hit new noteworthy. They're like crushing, and he was saying like I was talking to him about some of the episodes that crush harder than others, and it seems like if there is a person that has like a really big audience, but they don't put out tons of content like a podcast, it crushes because they're excited to like listen to this person in a different way or for an extended period of time or whatever. Or if it's someone that's like a cool figure in the community that's like an everyday person, kind of like what Voyage ATL is trying to highlight. I've actually gone on Voyage ATL to try to find people for the podcast because I'm like, these are like normal people that are like getting featured, and I've actually reached out to some of them and had a really good podcast from it, so shout out. But it's funny because some of these like everyday people, their podcasts end up getting downloaded the most because they're the biggest advocates to sharing it and all that kind of stuff because they're not putting out their own content as much. So they're like stoked that someone is like investing in them sort of.
Absolutely.
Which is
that's
cool.
why I think, once again, we need to go back to who a real influencer is, which is these community leaders that have real people that care about them, that will go out of their way to
listen
read
or
an
whatever.
article or
totally.
listen. So yeah,
totally
those are people I care about and love the most. But I also believe they're big influencers, people of influence that genuinely care, and no matter how big they grow, they always stick to their values, and I admire those people.
Totally. Feel like it's a good place to wrap things up, Umama. Plug SweatPack again. Where can people find it? When is it launching? What do they need to do?
Yeah, so right now we are a web platform, so I don't know, looking here.
Sure. Now you can. Now we're talking directly to you guys.
Okay, camera. So guys,
a lot of people are listening though too.
Oh, perfect. So right now we are a web platform, so you can go on our website, sweatpack.co. We have a few teams available, but July 20th we are launching our full list of gym teams, fitness teams, and sports leagues. So you can join a team, but you can come try it out. Actually, at our event, we're gonna have like a live SweatPack matching, so I'll show people how it's done.
In Atlanta, if you're local.
At Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They have the Home Depot backyard turf, so we're gonna have this huge turf area there. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is giving out a few raffle giveaway prizes and a few of our other sponsors. So come out and then download the app when we're ready this fall. So look forward to seeing you guys. If you want to connect with me personally, it's smallandstrong.fit.
Who has small and strong fit?
Oh my God,
loser?
this girl that won't answer me. I've been contacting her for 4 years.
And they probably don't even have the password anymore.
Yeah, no.
So is she active? Does she post anything?
No. Her last.
Have you reached out to Instagram about it?
Her last post was, "I'm a damn dinosaur. Hear me roar." It's like, I hate you. give me my username. Because I hate the .fit, but it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. People know you buy it now.
Exactly.
Oh, well. Awesome. Umama,
Thank you.
thanks for being on the
Yay,
podcast.
so fun.
And
Thanks, guys.
we'll see you later, everybody. Boom. There you have it, guys. Thanks again to Umama for joining me. If you made it here to the end and you're sad that this episode is over, no worries, because you can go back and listen to the first episode I did with Umama, which was episode 87, and listen to her story of how she became small and strong fit. Or you can go check out another episode that I think you would love, which is episode 110 with my amazing friend and online fitness entrepreneur, Ashlyn Showalter. And Ashlyn's the founder of Love Your Body Academy, which is an online coaching program focused on helping millennial women gain confidence and fall back in love with their bodies through fitness. And during that episode, she shared how she got unstuck at her job as a bartender, overcoming her fears of starting her own business, attending a retreat that changed her life, and what it's really like being an online entrepreneur. I think you'd really enjoy that episode. Go check it out. It's episode 110 with Ashlyn Showalter. And if you want to support the show, the best way to do that is to go to your app that you're on right now, take a screenshot and share it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform that you're most active on. It really helps me out that you're sharing with your friends what podcast you're listening to, especially if you actually enjoyed this episode. And if you want to follow me on all my social media platforms, you can go to my website, andrewdeitsch.com, and you can find all the links to all of my social media handles and accounts there. But that's pretty much it. That's all I got. Thanks again for listening, especially all you loyal peeps that listen every single week. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.
6.5.
6.5.
Like 5.
4 and a quarter.
I know.